Hello, good evening everyone. Hello Sway. Hello Tony. Welcome. So the good news is that I did some of the work in the last evenings off stream. And so we are, let's say, in a decent shape. I mean, not the greatest of all because there are still some errors here and there. But if you remember right, mainly the action manager and the PS action location of last stream, if you go and look at the end of the stream, it was like full of red markers here, right? Which were all the errors that we were getting in the compilation because we just started to port it, and there were so many errors in it. But the good news is that now, at least in this file, there are 0 errors left. In this file, there are 0 errors left. I had to comment out a few pieces, but not too many. Now we are getting some error into this guy, which I don't know exactly why. but I think that the reason is that I moved some of this in another place, so it was I was checking. Sorry, I'm not sharing. I'm sharing now. So yeah, I was saying that Action Manager and PS Action Location in this right side of the Visual Studio UI, you see the errors, right? And it was fully red the other day. Now is pretty much okay. So I'm still missing a few things here, and I was just checking why. Could be that I moved, yes, this one I moved it to action trigger type. So actually I changed the way the trigger type are called. So that's why we are getting an error in here. Okay, so we can try to recompile. So what is the status? Well, while it recompiles, the status is that we wanted to add 2 new classes. Actually, Action Manager.cpp, which was missing, and PS item location, which was actually there but not fully utilized. Right? And those 2 classes are basically managing what we call action locations, which are positioned in the map where you can that you can inspect, right, and get a feedback from the game of what's in that location. And it can be just a mesh that you get a description. It can be a plaque. It can be I don't know, whatever, you know. It can be any item in the game, but not an actor. So that's the difference. Action locations are not actors, like in the Real Engine way. They are just meshes. So pieces of the level, part of the level, right? Wow. We're getting an error inside. Hello. We're getting an error inside a generated file, which is a bit weird. Usually we don't get that. He's complaining about receive action location list. Hey, can I click on it? What the hell is going on? Because when I click here, it goes there. Receive action location list. So that's the one that is making him unhappy. Overloaded member function not found in plane shift controller base. So I did something stupid, like most likely I didn't. Yes, I didn't put the ampersand here to declare that it is a variable that is passed to a blueprint, and he requires that, otherwise it's not working at all. So let's see now. This should be one of the last few errors that we have. And action locations today is working, heavily based on the old concept of sending messages between client and server, which, by the way, we don't have anymore. So like I was explaining to you the last time, if we have our client and our server, and we are exchanging messages, the old way, to exchange the messages was mostly through IDs or through XML. So we had IDs of objects that were then decoded, and then here there was like a find ID to find the actual object. So to find, let's say, object by ID. So there was like the way to do it. And then so I was passing ID, finding the object on the server side, and on the server side finding the object and working on it, then passing back maybe some XML in the format of strings, and then this XML in format of string was sent back to the client, and then it was parsed. We were parsing the XML here and trying to get out, I don't know, the objects or whatever we had to parse. So why this way? Because we didn't have a system as evoluted as Unreal to actually pass objects directly through the RPC, right? So we didn't have that capability. Now that we have it, I think it's a bit easier. So a lot of the functions that we have in here are not really the way we want them. So for now, my objective was to compile this class, so fix all the syntax errors and fix all the function calls, arriving to the point where we can compile it, and then after that we will start to make changes to adapt it to Unreal. So that's the way we are gonna do it. And for now we are still on the compilation part, but as I was telling you, I went quite ahead, and so we have we have a large part of the compilation errors sorted out. So let me check here. So here he's complaining about location list. Why is complain? So he's complaining about binary plus iterator. T iterator does not define this operator on a conversion of type itself to the predefined operator. I'm a bit surprised about this because this should be working actually, but I see it does it in all the places where we added the f-string, ps action, location pointer, t iterator, create iterator, and this iterator is then passed here. We are doing iterator plus plus. So I'm trying to understand what it doesn't like. Binary plus plus iterator does not define this operator or conversion to a type acceptable to the program. Wasn't this the same? I mean, I'm doing it wrong somehow? Am I doing it wrong? Because I remember that we had this iterator thing, right? Well, actually, we use the iterator for the XML mostly. Let me see. Yeah, we define it, for example, on the faction standing, right? The difference is that we add it with an equal instead of, okay, so is that making a difference? Is this making a difference in the way? Let me see if this way goes, the arrow goes away. So the iterator is equal to that create iterator instead of passing it as a function, as a constructor. So here we are on line 268. Yeah, seems that 268 is gone. Okay, so that's That's the only error. So we have to change it. We have to change it this way. Everywhere. Well, it's not everywhere. It's like a few places. I mean, it's not too deep. 290? No. It's still giving the same error. It's still giving the same error because it's 290. It's giving the error on the line of the iterator plus plus. Okay. So maybe we can go and check the function standing, which is where we had exactly the same thing, right? And see why, and see how we were using it. I don't know if I had to define myself. Here we have plus plus iterator instead of iterator plus plus. Okay. Okay. Is that the issue? I would not understand why that's the issue, but I don't have a problem to make it that way. I don't have a problem, so plus plus iterator. I remember we had some issue with this plus plus iterator thing back in the days, that the plus plus or the so putting the plus plus before or after was messing up things. I don't recall now where was the problem and why we had it, but I'm pretty sure we had it at some point. Let me see it this way. By the way, we'll have probably to change all these functions anyway, because I don't think we want to iterate the way we are iterating now, but let's see. Hello guys. Yeah, the errors went down, so I think that's the trick. So I think it's not defining the iterator plus plus, but it's defining the plus plus iterator. For sure there is a reason, but that reason is beyond my imagination at the moment, so I don't care about it actually. The important is that it cycles through that T-map and is finding the items I want. That's pretty much what I need. Okay, still failed, but yeah, these errors went away, so there is still one. Let me see this one, log macro. This one is probably coming from a log that we tried to print out. Yeah, exactly. So reference template, vchar, blah 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 blah. So is complaining. Let me just check the show ID that I have. Let me just put a bookmark so that we find it easy. Let me just find the show ID, because I think, well, not in the same class though. Okay, it has to be escape. It has to be pointer to show ID, probably because this is returning an F string at the end. So okay, so that's fine. So we can just find all the show ID in this document and change them to star show ID, and they should fix this error at least. Okay, but we are going through the last steps of the compilation, because when it's detecting those errors means that all the syntax is correct, and it's just going through the second or third pass through the code, where it's trying to identify There is another one, I guess. There is another one. I think it's this XML. Yeah, it is. The XML should be escaped as well. I didn't escape it in that particular. In all the others I did, but in that one I didn't. So we're a bit deep into the code, but we will get out of it. Ooh, one successful, boys. Pretty nice. Okay, so it compiles. Okay, we reached the compilation stage. That's pretty good. Okay, so this means that these two new classes are now ported. Let's say ported in the minimal way. So ported because it said succeeded. So the class are compiling. I can launch my client in my server, and they will not mess up with it. Now is where the real work starts, because this was the easy part. But well, the easy was the grunt work, let's say. Now we need to decide how to actually populate the actual location and how to send the actual location between client and server. Now, there is a limited number of messages. The messages are the following. There is a query, save, list query, delete, and reload. So I think we will go with the most. I think there should also be a list, right? I think a list query probably is this one. List query is the list, is the full list. I think it is. Yes. So now we have to think if we want to keep this handle map action. If you want to keep this handle map action or not, right? If you want to keep this function, this is our entry point. So this is where the client will be calling the server, asking to do stuff, right? And then the server will answer with a number of messages back. But I think, yes, we can keep this one as the entry point. Why not? Handle map action. So let me just say, yeah, in fact, this one was the entry point in our old system where we had the subscription of the messages, you see? So it's this one. So I think it's okay. I think we can use this one. I think we can we can have in our player controller a new function, right? Which will be request something. So it will be like this one, for example, right? So it will be a blueprint callable function, which will be request, and then or we call it the same, or we call it request handle map action. Let me just see how I did. I think we can just call it request map action. I never use the handle, so map action. I don't know if I want to say just map action. I want to say map action location because I think is a bit clearer that is an action location, right? And then what we want to pass in is exactly this. So is the message type is these two things, and then the client we will just derive it from. Right? So will be these two functions, these two parameters, sorry, and I think that's it. And then this one we will implement it. So we'll go into Planeshift Player Controller CPP, because this one is not a blueprint callable, blueprint implementable, right? So it's a blueprint callable, so it has to be implemented because we call it from the blueprints. So so we put it here, and I would say we use the same syntax here where we put a print first of all to see if our function is being called. Now all of this we will for sure remove it, okay, in the future, but for now I think it's very good for us to see what is coming in. Now the type, I don't know exactly what I can do with this type. I will try to see if I can, and this would be action XML, right? Now can I transform the type, can I get from the type the display? I think it's probably, I don't think I can. No, it is not a pointer. No, because I was thinking if I can get the message in the description, I mean the name of this thing. So this U meta display name, but I'm not sure if I can get it. How can I get the display name from the enumeration? Enum get display name text by index. Okay, it's probably that function which is part of the enumeration. Find the localized display name or native display name as a fallback. I think it should be this somehow. If called from a cooked build, this will normally return the short name as metadata is not available. Okay. So they are stripping the metadata in the... Hello Tua, welcome. They are stripping the metadata in the cooked build, so... Okay, I'm just not completely convinced is this one, but probably yes. So it's a function that I have to call. Is a function I have to call. Oh my god, this thing is in Korean. My. Oh my god, I have to do all of this. Okay, I will print a freaking. I will print a freaking number then. I mean, I don't want to, find an object because it's probably seen as an object. So you have to find this object constant num pointer. Otherwise, num pointer index. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because probably the enumeration is an actual object and it gets created and he has his own. But okay, I think it's fine. It's fine. We just visualize it as an integer. Okay. So I don't care at the moment. I think an integer is fine. So so we'll call this function, and then we will do exactly the same thing we do here. So we will just get our pawn, we have to pass in, which is our player character, and then what we want to do, action manager, and then we call our handle map something, right? Now this is not okay. Handle map action. Okay, and handle map action will take the type, the action, and so the type, the action XML, and the pawn. Right. So this is what he wants. Now this is the function that will allow us to call from the blueprint on the client side the server asking for action location information. So that's the way in, right? So if you want in the schema, right, we are, wow, what is this? Never seen it. If I press shift, it does that thing. No, it's not Chrome, just a cough. So can I, wow, super small, why so small? Okay, request. So we are going through through this, okay, from our blueprint to the server. Now the server will use this one, which is action manager handle map location, okay, and still big, okay. We'll use this one to actually decode the message that is coming and say send back to the client the information he needs. Okay. So obviously the blueprint part we still need to do, but I think we can create a very simple UI to manage that, which is, by the way, the GM UI, which we didn't create yet, but we have to, I think. Okay. So when this is getting called, then this is going into Action Manager, is going here, is checking one of the following capabilities, and in particular we will go with the list query for now. So the list query will go inside handle list message, which is just here below. Handle list message, okay, it's here somewhere. And well, the first check it is doing is the GM level. So it's checking GM level 9. I'm not completely sure of what GM level 9 corresponds to actually. So 29, wow, okay, so it has to be at least 29. So basically none of the GM that we have in game now can see it, I guess. So it's only developers basically. Okay, it's fine. So he's doing this check. So if the person requesting this has enough security level, right? And if not, can say only admin level 9 can manage actions. Yes, this admin level 9 is a bit, but anyway. Let's say only developers, but it's okay. Then what is doing? Then is so that is where we are starting to get messed up a bit with the old XML, you know. So it is basically trying to get out of the string two parameters, one being the location and the other being the sector. Now, do we still want to do it this way? I mean, it's a bit stupid to do it this way in the new world, you know, in the Unreal Engine world, because basically means that on the client side, I will have to, on the client side, if I go back to the old code, right, just to show you what is the point by this handle list message. If I search handle list message, because I added all the comments, by the way, I did a pretty good job of can I have this find a place on this side? Handle list message, all open documents. Okay, it is. If I go to the declaration of this, handle list message, I think this one is not correct. I think I added something wrong because this one, by the way, I have it also in Unreal because I kept the two identical, so I can also see it from here. I don't think this is passing through locations, location. I think this is the message that is going to the client. It's not the one that is coming to the server, because as you can see here, it is only searching location, sector, and then yeah, exactly. Why I have it this way? Is this one? Is this one? I think I messed up the comment. Which is not a good idea because the comment was the one giving me the information. So this one is actually this. This one is the message that I'm going to send back. So this one is the list XML, which is sent from the server to the client, and it contains all the locations. So this one I'm not expecting to get from the client at all, right? The point is just where do we document that, because we have it somewhere. Process I'm pretty sure list query handle query message from clients and the list messages from fuck, I'm confused about these two functions, I'm very confused. Handle query message and the list message. I'm very confused because handle query message seems to get the location and the trigger type, and he's searching for matching locations. So location and trigger type. Okay, and he's loading the node, and then he's checking if I think that this one is the targeting of the location. Handle query message. I think we need to test it. I think we need to test it in the old client, otherwise it's very hard for me to understand. I think this one is when you click message type GM GUI type 2. You see that I have a type 2 here? I have a type 2 coming from that. Which may be a save in this case. No, this one is a save, I guess. No, I have to simulate it again because I cannot fully understand which is which. So let's launch the old client and let's do a test, and that's the easiest we can do. Because I'm printing out all the messages anyway, so I can see in the console what is getting sent because I enabled the message printing. Because unfortunately documentation there is wrong. Someone just copy pasted the actual documentation of the actual location for between one function and the other, and so I cannot rely on that. But I think so. This is the old client, so don't get fooled. Is not the new client. The Unreal Engine client is the old one, but if I show GM, right? If I show GM, this one is showing also the actions. So this one, sorry. So this one is going to. This one is going to. Oh, let me copy paste it because like this is impossible. Let me copy paste it back here. Okay, so this one. This one is. Yeah, all the text are all the action locations, so that's a bit annoying. But it did again list query. It did again a list query. So the list query is asking to the server. So if I guess if I go, let me teleport it to another place, okay? Teleport me map npc room whatever. What is it? Npc room 1. Okay, I'm teleporting myself to another place, right? To another sector. Now, if I close this and I open it again, and I check my messages, yes, you see now it did list query, location sector, npc room, location. Okay, so the list query is actually what I was saying. So the list query is just a request to get the full list of the action locations in that particular sector. Okay, so this is what we need to document, otherwise the list query. Now, is the list query going through this? Yes. So, handle query message from client list query. It doesn't explain shit about this, but but it's not this one. It's going through. It's not this one. Did I mess up and I copied the wrong function? No, it's not this one because the handle query message seems to be another one. That is impossible. I think they are switched for some reason. Fuck, I copied again. I think they are switched. You see this list query? So let me check in the old code this list query because we have to understand what is calling, okay? So list query is calling and the list. Okay, so the documentation is bad. Okay, this one is calling and the list, while there is one which is called query, which is calling query. Okay, so list query. Okay, so these are messed up. So this is actually query, and this one is actually list query. Okay, now list query is using only sector, location and sector. Okay, so list message is using location and sector. So list message is using location and sector. So you see here, this one is wrong, this one is wrong, this one is wrong, this one is wrong. Then he's answering with this, you know. So he's answering with that to the client. But so if you want, we can say as a response, it will then send to the client an XML with the following format. Okay, so if you want to say that, we can, but you know, okay, so there is list query. So we can, okay, so let me just do this change also in the Unreal documentation, otherwise, so there is query, right, and there is query and there is list query. There is query, and this one, yeah, this was the mistake that messed it up my life. And it's like this. Okay. This one we don't need. Okay. So this is the message we are calling now. So the first time we open up the GM console, we want to request the list of all the action location in that sector. Now we have another problem, that sector does not exist in U, but that's another issue that we're going to manage separately. So for now, let's assume that it exists, right? So this one should be fine. So I'm going to call list query. So I need handle list mess. So I need from my player controller base to call this guy. Okay. So this will go through this guy, and which is, we said list query. Come on, handle this message. Okay. Yeah. Why we didn't call it list query? So it was a bit easier, but okay, it's fine. So it's going through this. It's searching location and sector. It will find it. And then is going to create, and this is where we have to think about, you know, because this is where I have the comment, code commented out, because I don't think we want to send back another XML. Okay, so I think it's super stupid. I mean, for such a small list, I think we can, but I mean, for the request, I think we can. I don't care too much that is getting parsed, you know, but for the which, by the way, also for the request, I think is a bit stupid. So maybe I will change it in the future. But for now, let's say that is okay, because this request map location is basically building an XML. So creates an XML, which then it gets parsed. You know, it gets parsed here. So again, because it is coming from the old code, but in theory, we could pass in directly the information, which in one case is the PS action location, in the other case, like now, is the sector. Now the difference is that if we do that, it means that we need to specialize these functions, you know. We need to specialize this function, but yeah, we need to have like 5 of this. One for list, one for list query, one for delete, one for remove, one more for whatever, and which would be pretty similar to parsing the XML at the end. So, but will be a bit cleaner. So I may decide to do it. It's very little parsing, and will take so little to do, but still, for example, in list query we are passing in 2 parameters, right? Location and sector. Now to create an XML instead of passing through two strings, you know, so that's a bit of the stupid stuff that we are doing. But in theory, I could put here all the parameters, all the possible parameters, and remove the XML. What are all the possible? Maybe we do it this way. What are all the possible parameters? Well, all the possible parameters are all the possible parameters are, let's try to sort it out, okay? So these are all the cases. These are all the cases. So for query, what do we get? For query, we have location and trigger type. Mesh name. We probably also have mesh name. By the way, I don't understand what is this location and trigger type. I don't understand it. So if I'm here and I do a right click, it did a query XML. It did a query XML, location, sector, mesh, polygon, position, trigger type. Yeah, there is way more though. There is way more than just well, but this is actually a full definition of an action location though, right? So if we pass in an action location as a parameter, that would be enough. Trigger type select. Why is doing this stuff? Trigger type. Node get content. Then it compares if it's select, like in our case, what was it? In our case, yes, was select. And then it was handling a select query. I think it is going through handle select query. Handle select query. Is searching. Okay, searching if there is already an action location in that place. Okay, I understand. I understand. Okay. Yeah, but we can just pass in the action location then. That's probably the easiest. Do I need to do it with the sector or not? Well, the sector is actually part of the description of our action location. So I think I can get rid of the XML basically. I can get rid completely of the XML, which is to me a better idea anyway. I'm just triple checking that I'm not doing something stupid, but no, it is the sector name is here, so I can anyway retrieve it from this. The trigger type should be here as well. Yes, it is. Yeah. Let's just pass in this thing. So basically, okay, so for the first one, for this one, the query, we can pass in as a parameter an FBS action location. So one parameter will be enough. We'll solve all the problem of the XML. We will not have to do anything anymore here with the XML. Right? Okay. So let's see the save. Well, the save I think is exactly the same, because the save is just another. I think I created one which was an example. I created a test. Well, I can create a new one. And I can call it delete me, and I can select this, examine this, action this, and do save. Okay, if I do save, save XML, there it is passing in, well, the location ID, the ID will be empty because it doesn't know what is the ID, but the rest is just one location. So it's a save with one location. Okay, good. So also in this case, we need only one FP action location. Fine. Then list query. List queries is slightly different, because list query we said that we need the sector, right? And is a direct query to a sector. I don't think that makes any sense to create an empty. Well, in theory, I could create an empty FP action location and get the sector out of it. So with everything empty apart from the sector, and we get it from it. That's also a way. I mean, it's not very clean, but it's also a way, because we said that in our query, in our list query is when I'm opening up, right, the UI for the first time, right? So that is the list query, if I'm not wrong. Yes, list query, and I just need the sector. So yeah, why not? I think we can use the same. I can use the same using only sector. This one will be using all except ID, and this will be I don't know. This I don't know. But anyway, it can be inside of this. Now the delete. Okay, so when I click in on delete, so if I go here, delete me, and I click on delete, it actually kills it, and is passing in an ID of the action location. Okay, that's kind of easy. So I think we can use the same, right? We can use the same using only ID, right? And then the reload cache. The reload cache I think is using no parameters. The reload cache is a one click. If I click on reload cache here, I'm doing a bit of a mess in the game, but I think I will do it because it takes a lot. Okay, it's reloaded. Yes, reload cache you see is empty, so XML is fully empty. So basically with no parameters. So this one has no parameters. I think that's fine. So I think we can, only the first one. I'm not sure exactly what I need to use. We said that we need to for the query. So when I'm right clicking, right? When I'm right clicking, query, I need sector, mesh, polygon, position. Yeah, basically everything except ID. Everything. No, for example, except ID and except script. Except ID, proximity, sector, trigger type, response. Except ID and response, I think. Okay. I think it's fine. So I would say the decision is we completely get rid of the XML. Completely. And we just pass in one parameter. This one. FPS action location. GG. And that's it. Okay, so let's do it. Let's do it. So to do it, we need to change a few things. We need our request map action location. Instead of having the string XML, we need to pass in our FPS action location, right? And this will be our action info. Let's call it action info, which is a bit generic, but it's okay. Now here, now this one is complaining obviously because it's no more matching with the declaration. That's okay. Then I think we can use the XML when going back. No, but no. Also when going back, we will not use the XML anymore. We will not use the XML anymore. So basically now in our schema, we are passing in two parameters. We are passing in the type of request and wow. I don't know why it is like this. So we pass in the type and the FPS location, and that's it. So this is what is going down, right? And that's enough because we did the check, and that's enough. So at this point, okay. So here I cannot print this unless I do a toString of this thing and I concatenate it. Well, I can do, but I think this one doesn't have any function on it, right? Because it's a string. I mean, because it's a struct. I think I can add a function that does the concatenation for me if I want, right? Can I? I think I can have. Can I have a function here which we call toString, and which takes no parameter, and for now let me just return ID plus, can I do this? Plus ID. I don't think I can do this way because I have to put in an F string. I think I have to do an F string concatenate or something. But yeah, I think so. Okay, something like that. Can I do it? I don't know if I can do it. I think I should. No, it's a struct, but a struct is as smart as a class somehow, right? I think so. Yeah, I need to return something, boys. It doesn't like the ID because I need there is the ID to how do I do integer to string. Okay. I think that's the way. You're still thinking, but as soon as you finish thinking, I think this would be okay. So we can call it toString of this, and then we will concatenate all the other parameters. Okay, this was just an example, but just wanted to see if I can put a string inside, a function inside of this, which is not the constructor. The constructor for sure I can put, but I should be able to put this as well. Why not? Then we can concatenate the rest. So in this case, if that works, which I assume it does, we can have our action info to string, and this we can visualize, right? Then what? Then here handle map location. So this will not take anymore the XML, but it will take directly our action info, right? So I have to change this one as well. I have to go in action info and handle map something. Action manager. Handle map action, yes. So this one will become this. Will become this. Okay. Now the problem is that the same we will have to do on all the subfunctions. But it's okay, there are only 5, so it's not too big of a deal, so I think it's okay. So we have, also handle query message and also all these functions. So also this one, handle query message will take this. Handle save message will take this. Handle list message will take this. Handle delete and handle reload actually will not take any parameter. Okay. Okay, I think we are kind of good. Now we need to do the change also here, so the code will start to break, but it's okay. It's okay, so this is the second pass we wanted to do, so it's fine. We are prepared for it. Handle select query was passing in a node. What the hell? Not a string? Because it's none of those. No, we have to do only those ones. So only the query message. Visual Studio. It's in the same file, bro. It's in the same file. It's in the same file. The same CPP. Okay. Cannot do it. It's too hard. It's here, by the way. Handle and the query message. Handle save message. Handle save message. Handle list message. Handle list message. Handle delete. And handle reload. So these are the ones that we changed the format. No, handle reload, nothing, because there is no parameter. Okay. Now the only thing I've seen that I messed up, that I need to copy. I called it action info, so I need to pass in action info here. Okay, good. Okay, let me try to recompile like this. So this is basically the preparation, you know, to have our client send in all this query to visualize the action locations. By the way, guys, if you have any questions, please just ask in the chat. There's no problem. Let's keep it interactive. I like you know, speaking with you while I'm programming. Also makes it less boring for me, and maybe also for you. So if you have any questions, if you don't understand what I'm doing, you can ask, no problem. Or if you have any other question about the game, about the development, about Unreal Engine, about anything, about the coronavirus in Italy, you can ask me. Coronavirus in Italy is pretty bad, by the way. While there's recompiling, I can show you the map. I can show you the map. There is it's in Italian, but it is for Italy. So at the moment there are 8,500 known as positive infected, 1,000 healed, 631 dead, and total positive 10,000. So excluding the one that has been obviously healed. So no, sorry, including the one that have been healed, it is the total, right? And then you can go here and see map of the regions. I mean, for you, it will not be very relevant because you are not in Italy. Well, except for Davide, but you are not in Italy. So I live here in Piedmont. So is the smallest one. So in my area, there are very few. I mean, on like a city of 1 million people, we have less than 100. So I mean, it's very low. But if you go in areas like this, is way higher, right? In particular, there are two areas. Bergamo, this area here, we have 1,000 cases, 900 cases, 900 cases. So these are the areas where there is the most. The rest of Italy is pretty much untouched. You see there are cases everywhere, by the way, but at least the ones that are known. But you see there are like 5, 1, 9, so very small numbers. There is no big number in these areas. And also in the south of Italy, very little. So the problem is really this area, the area around Milano, around Milan. So that's the that's where the issue is. In my area, luckily, there are not too many problems. Okay, so let's see if it recompiled. Failed. Okay, failed. Endless mass. Okay, so we there are some calls. Yeah, they are expecting now the new information. Okay, which is fine. For example, the save message, right? So the save message is expecting to get the so yeah, now we don't need this XML anymore. So now it is where we are really starting to change the code, which I like and I don't like. I mean, I like on one side because we are getting rid of this XML, which was totally useless. On the other side, we need to change the original code, which scared me a bit, but it's fine. So there is a save message. It's saying search for matching location. I don't know why it's saying this, because it's getting the XML in. It's getting the location. It's just trying to see if it exists already. Okay. If node is different, is not existing, return. Name, node ID. So it's requiring some information. So it's the ID, the name, the sector, and the mesh are all mandatory fields. Right? So this is what it's doing. Don't understand too much this part, because here is checking that ID needs to exist. But len is 0, so it's there, but is 0 value. Okay, so it's not having an actual value. Yeah, I'm changing the code, boys, so this is getting scary for testing. This is getting scary for testing, but it's fine. I think I want to do it. So all of this has to be trashed. All this part has to be trashed. Will be much easier because we have our action info location. So what it's doing here is, I don't know why it's saying search for matching location, but I think it's only this part that is checking for a matching location. This one. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna change things here. So we're gonna check for mandatory fields. And so we are gonna do. By the way, because then here is creating a new one. Huh? He's creating a new one. He's updating the DB. And then he's saving it. I have to redo all of this. I have to redo all of this just by the fact that I changed the XML to my own structure, which is a bit annoying. Hello, Hula. You have seen it on your French TV? Yeah. In France, there are also many cases. I don't know how many, but. So, the mandatory field. So let me move this up, okay? And then the check for mandatory fields is the name. So the name should not be empty. So if I do action info dot name, right? And I check if this name is empty, right? We don't give an error. Okay, so we just return like we don't care about anything. Yeah, the code was a bit brutal here, so we're just assuming that you cannot create it with Okay, I don't know. I think this return is a bit brutal, but we can for now do the same, because otherwise we should send a new message. Maybe we can just log something. Yeah, we can just log something on the server maybe. So let's say if name is empty, or sector is empty, sector name, or mesh. Seems also mesh needs to be. I don't know why, but okay. Let's follow the logic. So if these three are empty, he was basically just bailing out. Okay, and we will do the same. So if these three are empty, we just return. Maybe in addition, we just log something. Let's log something like this, and let's say error. We can say try to create an action location without the mandatory parameters. It will never happen, basically, but because, well, it may. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it may happen or not. But anyway, this is what it is. So we, yeah. So basically, this is doing the same as what this part of the code was doing up to here. So you see how simpler it is without the XML? It's like one line. So I think we are improving. The town, no town closed for now. Okay, so you don't have town closed. Actually, here in Italy we have town closed. So you cannot go outside the perimeter of the town without a good reason. But you need to justify the reason. So if you're just trying to go out and you have not a good reason, you may get in trouble with the police. So you are forced to stay in your area. You cannot go outside your area, which is obviously a problem for work and everything else, but it's a bit of a mess actually. Imagine the people that are living in one city and working in another city. They're moving every day back and forth. I mean, they cannot do it, or maybe they need this special approval, but every time they will be checked and stuff. So here we say if the length is equal to 0, add a new location. Otherwise, update and stuff, right? So in our case, this will be action info .id is empty. No, id is an integer. So okay, equal to 0, exactly the same. So if this is equal to 0, add a new location, blah blah blah, and this is fine. If not, update a new location. Update the location. So what is doing here? So here what is doing is searching for the existing location by sector. Okay, so here is searching by sector. Is iterating through this. You know, all of this I don't need to do anymore. All of this I can just do very, very simply. Very simply. Find or multi-find or whatever it's called. Multi-find. So I just need to multi-find by sorry. I just need to multi-find by sector name, and I think this takes TRA of PS item location. Okay, so I need to create that TRA of PS action location pointer. This will be found locations, and this will be empty at the beginning. I think he will complain a lot if I do this. I need to do minimum this. And here I pass in the found locations, and he will fill it in. Check current development now if current ID equal to ID. Why is doing this? Because it's checking only the ones in that sector. I think it's totally stupid. I think we can just check it by ID. Yeah. Absolutely. Why we need to... Yeah. Absolutely. I don't think find is a good idea. I think we need to have find ref. I think which is returning a pointer to this. And so I can remove this one. Yeah. We just find the right one by ID. Action equal to current. Okay, it was called current. I don't know, we can call it current if you want, but I think found location was better. And so all of this becomes one line, this one. You see the simplification? It's much better, eh? It's much better. We have to change the code, which is annoying, but it's definitely much better. Now, here is removing it from the cache, so this part I don't understand too much. So it's doing taking. Why is taking action? Now I changed the code and I cannot read it anymore. We are in which function? We are in handle save. Huh? Why handle save, by the way, which is not the one that we are changing, but I mean we have to change them all, but handle save. So he's taking action equal to current. Okay, I mean very useful. There was a reason for sure in this code, but then so he's taking our current. Okay, so he's taking our current. He's taking our current, which is this one that I found. So he's basically doing get trigger type a string, get sector name, get action, get mesh name. So he's getting this thing, and he's removing it from the action list. Okay, I think that is okay. Then he's removing by name this one, by sector this one, by ID this one. Okay, because we are keeping four array with all the possible with all the action locations, but just sorted in a different way, so that it is easier for us to extract it. So we have 4 T maps, just because we want to be super quick in extracting the data. Now we are maintaining 4 of them, so it's always kind of a gamble if it's better or worse, but this is how we were doing it, and I'm not gonna change that. because I don't want to change too much, you know. Now, now this update db load, I think it will be useless now. This one, which is loading by XML node, this one will become totally obsolete. This one is totally obsolete. The only problem is that there is some logic into it. It's not just reading the parameters, but as you can see, for example, if the XYZ is not specified, it defaults to 000. Which I don't know if it's really important, but then trigger type, we have it sorted. Response type, response active. This is active, I don't remember it. Do we have it? No, we have it for sure. No, wait. What does it mean? Not active. Can I flag one as not active? Ah, yes, there is a flag. There is an active flag. There is an active flag. I don't remember if I placed it in the new in our new structure. I don't remember it. So FPS action location, ID, master ID, name, sector, mesh name, polygon, position, position, instance, radius, trigger type, response type, response. No, it's missing. Why is missing? No idea. But it's missing. So we need also the active. And it is a boolean. Okay. Do I need to change anything else? I would say no. I would say no. I remove this for now. Well, I will need it though. I think I will need this. Okay, so we added also the is active. Now the point is, this will be much cleaner anyway. And so we are going through a bit of a pain, but I think it will be much cleaner at the end. And so I really like what I'm doing. I don't know if it's really worth it for the action locations, but at the end I think yes. Because we are cleaning up, you know, all this XML stuff that we were moving between client and server, and is much better. So this load we don't need anymore. So this load will be changed to. So we need from FPS action location to create a PS action location. So from the struct to create the actual object. So my suggestion will be to add inside our PS action location, this one, a new method, a new constructor, actually, a new constructor which will take. At the moment we only have this constructor, right? I don't have any other constructor, I guess. Yes. Fine. We can add a new one, which will take. We'll take as a parameter a nef PS action location. Right? Now this one I don't know if we have declared, but it's inside messages, which is basically included from everywhere. So yeah, I think it should be already there. Let me just be sure that I copied right, but yes, I think I copied right. Okay, so this one now we're going to implement, and this will allow me to create from what I'm getting from the client the actual server side action location. Which you may argue why you need it. Well, I need it because I cannot have the same object because these are, it's too long to explain, but anyway, I cannot have exactly the same object between client and server in this case. So I need to create somewhere in my code PS action location info. So I don't know why I don't place the .h next to the CPP, so at least it's easier to select. Yeah, like this. In the same for action manager. So PS action location, right? So we go here in the CPP. I think I want to create it at the beginning where we have the first construction. There it is. Wow, that's something. I think I want to have exactly the same. The problem is, how do I load the script though? How do I load the script? Well, I'm assuming because it's not doing it in the load. Is it loading the response script, the XML script? Because there is an XML inside the response, so that one we are not going to change, right? I'm just saying, I'm just thinking if, oh my god, why you cannot understand that is an actual location? Stuart, okay, Stuart. Let me see when he reads the response. Is he response get con? So here is just, yeah, here is just putting the content, but it's not parsing the XML that is inside of it, which is a bit weird. It's not doing that. So probably it's doing it when he's doing save. Then maybe when he's calling save, he's parsing the XML. No, save seems a brutal save to the database. Maybe he does it at the end. No, it's not doing it, boys. Wow. So how this thing is then working? Maybe it's here. Maybe it's inside update cache. Cache action location. Cache action location. Ah, yes, it's doing it here. That's the action response string. Okay, good. Okay, I think it's fine. Okay, good.
Okay, nice. So we have, okay, so I think we have, so it took me a bit to understand because it's this code, I'm not looking at it since so much time, but I think I understand what it's doing. So I think we are fine. Is parsing our string, okay. We were inside what? We were inside handle save. Handle save, right? Yes, we were in the middle of this. And we were saying that up to here is all fine, up to here is all fine, but the load has to be changed. Okay. So, yes, the load is to be changed. The load will be instead the constructor, yes. And for the constructor, we can just call, can just copy paste this. This will become, I don't know what is this gem action null. I think I can just remove it. Why needs to initialize a class that doesn't exist anymore? It's in the declaration, but yeah, it's not extending from that anymore. So, so I think all of this is fine, with the difference that this will take as an input an FPS action location, right? Okay. So now we need to take all the parameters. So ID equal to ID, master ID. Master ID? Master. Okay, I think I have it. If it's there, I think I should have it. Yeah, I have it, master ID. Name. Name. I don't know what are all these other million parameters, but I think they are the ones that are generated through the script. Sector name. Come on. Okay. Mesh name. Okay. I don't know why my Visual Studio is so slow at the moment. I think it's because Plane Shift is running in the background. Could be. Polygon. 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 I think we have it. Right. Position also we have it. Yes. Position instance. Position instance we don't have it. Yeah, we have pos instance. Yes, we have it. Radius. We have it. Wow, we have everything. Location dot trigger type. We have it. Then response type is there as well. And then response is there as well. Okay, so I think that here we finished all the core parameters. Now these ones are the ones that are taken from the parsing of the response, which is done later on, not at this stage. Is done when we update the cache. So all of this, enter script, return is examine, enter entrance type. I don't think we have an entrance type, right? No. I think we use them all. There is only the is active. Instance ID. Can we check if we use them all? Because otherwise we may mess up. Huh? So ID, master ID. Let me check if we use them all. ID, master ID. Then name, sector name, mesh name. Name, sector name, mesh name. Then polygon position, position instance. Polygon position, position instance. Then radius trigger type, response type. Radius trigger type, response type. Then response and is active. Then response and is active is missing. Is active is here at the end. Actually, I would like to move it at the beginning because these are all the parameters that are coming from, I will do it also here in the other constructor just because I feel it's a better idea. So all these are the core parameter that we get from the action location. The others are coming from the response. So I could probably, okay, no, it's okay. So yeah, instead of true, it should do location dot is active, and all this one we leave it as it is. Okay. So we created our new constructor, which is nice. Now instead of this load, we are gonna simply do action. Instead of this. Can it fail? It cannot fail. So this if is totally useless. It's impossible that it fails. So we can do action equal to new of our action info. Because now we have the constructor and we can do it, right? Then we save it. Then we update the cache. This thing should be identical, hopefully. What is doing here? What is doing here? I don't get it. What is doing here? Here is calling end list message. Why is calling end list message? So we said, what did we say? End list message. What the hell is doing? End list. And the list, we said it is the one that is sending back the list of all the action locations. Wait a second. Ah, yes. Yes, huh? List. List or list query? I'm still confused sometimes by these two. list, because list query is list. List is sending all the. Can I add it to the freaking information, because otherwise I'm getting confused all the time. This one is I butchered this code. I butchered this code completely, so I have to look at it in the old one, otherwise. Yeah. He's iterating on all the He's iterating. So the least one. So end the list message. Oh my god, this one is so annoying. The fact that we didn't so end the list message from client. Example location blah blah blah. XML containing fuck it query parameters containing sector name for which we want the list of all action locations. So that is what, oops, it is what is it. And then as a response it will send the list to all client. Yeah, exactly. So let me put this also here. XML containing the sector name for which we want the list of all action location. As a response, it will send. Yeah, okay. Anyway, is clear that as a response, will list the list of all the action location. Okay, fine. So that's okay. So yeah, all this example of XML, I think we can leave it as a backward compatibility documentation, but I think we will have just to clean it completely. It's not needed anymore. We don't need it anymore. So end of list. Hello, by the way. I see a few people joined. Welcome to the stream. So end the list. It's fine. So he's trying to send back to the client. So what this part is doing is send back to the client the updated list of action locations for this sector. Right? Let me put this also in the old code, because we are inside handle save message. We are inside handle save message. Okay. Yeah, some additional documentation some additional comments is always good, because otherwise reading back the code is such a pain 10 years later. So in our case, I think we can still call the same function. The difference is that we need to create a very simple new FPS action location. FPS action location sector only equal to new FPS. Can I do new? Because Ariel is a bit annoyed when I do new on stuff. I think he doesn't like it. I think it does. The only thing I need to do is to set the sector name, and the sector name will be equal to the same sector that we are working on here at the moment. So we can take our action info sector name and it will be fine. Now all of this is assuming that sector will work, right? Somehow, but I think it will not. But I have another plan for that. So we can call than this with sector only. So this one, we don't like because it's not a pointer. Okay, who cares? Okay. Then this part, what was it? This part was if someone was sending an XML by purpose, which was trying to hack the server and send malformed XML just to fuck us up. And actually, we were tracking it. You see, there was a tracking like player XXX tried to send a bogus XML string. Now we don't need this anymore because now it's not an XML, so it's impossible that it's sending something fake. There is another good part of having it changed. Okay, so I think that our save message is done. Wow, that's 1 out of 5, boys. That's 1 out of 5. Well, maybe the others will be simpler. I don't know, but that's 1 out of 5. Okay, let's go. Next one. End the list message. So we said for end the list message, I think the save was the hardest, by the way. For end the list message, we said that we are only passing in the sector, right? Yes. So this one, yeah, but we have to, okay. No, this one will be very different as well. We need to get the sector. This is pretty easy. So the sector name. So all of this GG goes away. Sector name is equal to my action info dot sector name. As simple as that. And here is the tricky part. It is creating another XML to send client side, which we don't want anymore. Which I already created a new function, which is this one, in which we need to create an array of our action locations. So okay, but how do I extract them? I extract them like this. Yes, this part I already wrote it new. So I go by sector, I do a multi-find, I search all the ones that have that sector, I put it in this array. Yes. So it is basically search all action locations which are matching the sector name. Okay. And then here is create a new array of the difference is that one is a PS action, okay, so one is this and one is this, okay, of FPS's location to send to the client. Okay, so we cycle on those, and for each one, so this is where we need the opposite constructor, right, which was the one that I was creating and then I stopped saying we will do it later. So in my message here, I need a new constructor, which is this one, which I was creating and I stopped. Which will take as an input this action location, yes, and then it will assign all the basic parameters. So we'll have to assign all the ones that we did here. Right? It has to do the same, but in the opposite direction, right? So everywhere we have location dot, it becomes al. Okay. So this should do it. This should do it. So if this does it, which I hope it does, we just need to create a new FPS location from our ALs of 0, right? In this one we need to add to ALS to send dot add of 10, right? You will see then client side what we will get. Okay, so at the moment you are a bit confused, but don't worry, because what I'm doing is that now instead of parsing the XML, which is this shit we were doing before, I'm just creating a very simple T array of our FPS, freaking FPS action location. Okay, and in this array, the beauty of this array is that it can be simply sent back through the RPC. Okay, so we will receive here this array, and yeah, and we will read it through the blueprint, because FPS action location is actually a blueprint enabled type, right? And so we will be able to read it on that side. So call the proper operation. I don't know what this is. What it means, call the proper operation. This doesn't need anymore. Go away. Search all, etc. Create a new array. All this iteration is useless. All this is useless. And it is send it to the client. Send it to the client. And all of this is useless. And bogus XML doesn't exist anymore because it's impossible. Wow, look at that code compared to the previous. Okay, so there is this function, handle this message. Look at this function. How many lines? I don't know. Not many, between 405 and 429. So 25 lines. 25 lines. Do you want to see how it was before? Handle this message. Handle this message was all of this. All of this. Well, it's not that much shorter, but anyway, shorter. Anyway, shorter, okay? Why I pressed F9, I have to press F7. Okay, let's try to recompile, but this was 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5, we still have 3 to go. We still have 3 to go. But I think we are getting closer. We are getting closer because the other 3, I feel they are simpler. I have the feeling they are simpler, or not. Maybe not. Okay, let's go. Delete message. This one we said. Delete action is using only the ID. So that's the only parameter we need to pass in. And so fstring ID equal to action node ID. Right? All of this is totally useless. And action location list, blah blah blah. No, we will do it by ID. So we will do. I think I did this already. Where did I do it? I did it. Here it is. It's exactly the same. So I find the action location by ID. Yes. Well, this one is really useless. I can. It's an int. Search machine location by ID. Why says locations? It cannot be locations. It's location. I'm deleting one. I'm deleting one location. I don't know why I said locations. I think it's a mistake. I don't know why saying search for matching locations. You see, it's extracting only one. And by the way, it's by ID. There's only one. There is no chance. Okay, so search machine location by ID. We do this. We find the element. We already found it. So all this code is GG. We can delete it. Current actual location. I don't know why it's giving two parameters, but we only need one. We only need one. Which, by the way, is this one. So all this code is GG. We can delete it. Nice. So no match. Okay, no match is just returning. So I don't like this too much. I think I would like to have at least a message for the server side. I would like to have at least try to delete action location with wrong ID, with not existing ID, and I can also tell him the ID. So that is probably a bit better, and we can do action ID and no action location ID. No. If I do like this, it will never work. Action info ID. What? Must have a pointer? No. Yeah, he's right. Okay, so sector name, action locations. Okay, so we extract here. I don't know why we extract the sector name. Yes, because we are resending the list all the time. This resending of the list is a bit stupid, but okay. So every time you delete or add a new one, we are resending the whole list. I mean, it doesn't happen very often, by the way. We don't change action location so often, so I think it's okay. Action location delete. I think this part of the code will stay the same. This one will stay identical. This one will stay. This one has no sense anymore. This one will stay the same. This one, we just need to do what we did in the other one. So we just create. Where did I do it? Where did I do it? I did it 1 second ago, but I don't remember where it was. It was in the save. Let's go in the save. And we'll save, and we'll save, and we'll save. Send back. Yeah. Why we kept this part? This part is totally useless, by the way. That is the only part that we need. Okay, handle delete. So here we are sending back to the client. Let me just add this comment in the old code as well. because one more comment is always better. And this one is not needed anymore. Okay, so we send back to the client for the sector that is in the action info. Okay, good. And this one, which is the bogus thing, doesn't exist anymore, which is also very nice. All of this we can indent one back. And we did the delete. I don't know if it will work, but at least we did it. We technically completed it. Then if it's working, we have to test it. But it's done. Okay, so we are 3 out of 5. Are they really 5 or they are 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're actually 5, but the reload cache doesn't have any parameters, so this one is not something we need to do. So actually it's 3 out of 4. Okay, query message. So query message, we said that is using all except ID and response. That is a weird one. That is a weird one, because this is basically trying to check if there is an actual location in that location where I clicked. So search for matching locations. Location and trigger type. So it's searching by trigger type, but I don't think the trigger type is enough, because I think this one is much more complex, because it's getting, in fact here is calling another function. Okay, the trigger type we can get easy. Okay, so trigger type we can say action info dot trigger type, and we have it. Fine. The only problem I think that this trigger type is actually an enumeration. Yes, okay, it's an enumeration. So is e action trigger type. Okay. Why you deleted it? Okay. E action trigger type equal to this. Yeah, you see, it's loading an XML here. He's doing some weird stuff, because load XML. Let me check load XML. Trigger type, sector name. What are these variables, by the way? These variables are inside Action Manager directly? Okay, that's a bit weird. Why inside Action Manager directly, having all these variables with are related to okay, anyway, it's loading only those ones. So yeah, we need to load this. To keep it compatible, we need to load this. But let's see if we can do it smarter than this. Okay, so he loads that into variables that are inside Action Manager. Then what it does, then he's checking if trigger type equals to this. Well, I can do it much simpler. I can just do my action type equal to, I can just do action info dot trigger type equal to e action trigger something dot select, right? Yes. I think that's much easier, and also I don't need then those variables into Action Manager, which I think I like even more. So okay, so all of this is going to GG out. This one is going to GG out. This one, what the hell? What do you mean I don't have trigger time? It was here 1 second ago. Is it? Because the T uppercase. Okay. I was scared for a second. Like, where the hell did it go? Okay, so is here. So fine. So we do this. Handle select query top node client. Yeah, I could have done this off stream. By the way, I understand this is not the most exciting part of the coding. I could have done it off stream maybe, but I don't know. So now if handle select query, what is this thing? What is this thing doing? Handle select query. By the way, is there any documentation on what it is doing? Nothing. Sometimes we don't add comments. We have a lot of comments in the code, by the way, but it's never enough. Okay, let me see what this is doing. Handle select query. So it's getting the top node, is getting the actual location, is loading into the search this top node. If client and client search system, this client and client is beautiful, by the way. But is my conversion code, my automatic conversion code. Search system instance client get instance. Search for meshes. Okay. Wow, that's a complex one. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. So he's searching basically, so given a bunch of information, given a minimum set of information, he's searching for a match. So an actual location that is the same basic information, like position or name of the mesh or something like that. Okay. So this one is trying to get the best match out of this thing. So let me document it because now we understand what it does. So this thing is find the best match, the best action location matching the input parameters like sector, mesh, poly, point in radius, I mean, it's not always plus, is you know. So that is what it's doing. I will put it here as well, so we have it documented here as well. Okay, so this one may be tricky, huh? This one may be tricky. Well, instead of top node, I can just pass in my action info. So the first thing we need to do, we need to change it so that it takes FPS action location action info. That's the first thing we need to do. Right. Then now I change the signature, and so it's getting a bit confused.
Could you compile a little to see what you do? The problem is that I don't know if I can show you yet the result, but because even if I compile, you will not see it client side yet. But basically, what I'm doing, I'm prepared. So you see this. This is the old client, right? In the old client, we had the ability to manage action locations, which are the ability to describe the world, right? The ability to describe the world. So if I go teleport me, if I go to the main plaza, assuming my client doesn't crash, it didn't. Hello, there is a mount here. If I go here and I go here and I look at one of this, I don't remember which one, maybe this one. Yeah, you see, I right clicked on this block, right, and something pops up, right? Why? Because this block has been defined as an action location, so as something that can be described in the world, right? And if I click on view, it's saying a symbol of the crystal is engraved in this stone. A small inscription says 550, which, by the way, 550 is the year in which has been built this fountain, right? I think so. Or I think it was a part of the quest. 624. No, it's not the year it's been built. It was a part of a quest or something. But anyway, so if I open the GM console, right, which is this one, I can see under actions all the action locations that have been defined. And I don't know where to search this particular one, but it's one of these. Okay, so I think it's a bit long to search through this list, but yeah, fountain. Look at this, fountain pillar, fountain water is one of fountain block is one of those fountain block. Right? If I click on edit, it will show all the information, including the description. A small symbol of the crystal engraved, one of the 7 triangles is colored in black. A small description save 625. So this is the thing. So what I'm trying to recreate in Unreal is this window and all the messages client and server are allowing me to do what you just saw here now. Okay. And so what you just saw here now, which is this. So the view, the edit, the save, the list, and the reload cache, which are the 5 functionality that we have for this type of examination. So we examine the world, right? So what I'm doing at the moment, I'm preparing the server side, right? Only the server side, because then we have to do the client side, but only the server side to accept a save, a list, a query. I mean, all those 5 functionality that are possible through the action locations. And then when we have done the server side, I will have to go to the client side and actually create a UI. At the moment, there is no UI available, so we need to create a UI for the game master to create the action locations, but the server side will be set. So this is what we are doing, and so I'm fixing the server side code to be ready for the client to then ask, say, hey, please create this action location, or save this one, or edit it, or delete it, or see if there is an action location at that position. And in particular, this handle select query is exactly this function. When I look at the world and I click anywhere, like if I click on the ground, it says floor. The floor is look quite ancient, but it's still in very good shape. The stone are usually exceptional quality, right? So the right click is going server side and is
is calling this function, which is the select, and is trying to find the best match of the place where I clicked, right? And so I'm porting the code between the old plane shift and the new one, and making it a bit smarter because we removed all this XML going through. So I hope that explained you what is it. Unfortunately, I cannot show you in Unreal yet because I need to finish the code before I can show anything, because at the moment it's not compiling. You see the red dots here on the right side? All these are errors we need to fix now. The reason is that we changed a bit the way it works, and so we need to fix it. But we will do it. Don't worry, we will do it. We will do it. No matter what, we will do it. Okay? Okay, so what it's doing here is handle select query. So, okay, here we are searching for, right, one of these matches. That's okay, Ulla, it's okay, I have time. And if I don't want to answer, I will not answer, so you can ask. Trigger type, sector name, string, action, location, iteration, location, creator info. Okay. So here we are basically searching for the key that is matching trigger type, sector name, and mesh name. Okay. In this we are searching it in action location list. Okay. We may find multiple ones, right? Because this one is a multi. Is this the one that is multi or not? I don't remember. Action location list. Action location list. I don't think it's multi. This may be a mistake, though. It's not multi. Is not multi. It means that I can have one action location per mesh and not two. I'm not really sure that it is really the case. And it is one. We are fucked. There are two guild houses which are in the same mesh. Because, you know, maybe it's a house like, I don't know, like this one, which has two entrances, one from the front and one from the back. And maybe it is the case of this house, I don't know. Well, this house no, but this house yes, for example. And for whatever reason, we have set two guild houses to live in the same, or imagine this one, right? One is this door and one is this door. So our old code was allowing us to have multiple meshes, multiple action location per mesh. The way I did it here, I mean, I can change it. I can change it. It's nothing too critical, but it means that I have to change this one to be multi as well, to be a multi-map. I think it's fine. I can do it. I can change it as a multi-map. Should I do it now? So if I do it now, we add more changes to the changes I'm already doing. So that's what I. Should we finish it as it is, and then the problem is that some of the code that I'm changing will change again. But I don't know if I want to do changes on top of the changes. Because this one will become a multi-map. With trigger type sector mesh name, it may return. Let me see what it's doing though. Huh? Let me see what it's doing. So it's checking this. Then is switch action location is match. Okay, so I think that this one is the function that is doing the real job. Yeah, match on sector name and mesh, and compare sector name with sector name, mesh name with mesh name. So if they are the same, so if sector and mesh are the same, it goes further. If polygon is different than 0, then compares the polygon. Yes, if the polygon specified does not match, no match. If there is no specific polygon, it's searching for one at a certain distance. It's very smart. And if not, it's checking for the instance. Yeah, it's doing a bunch of checks. So this one is the one that is doing the real match, and yes, you may find one or the other just based on distance. Just based on distance. So in reality, we have to change it to a multi-match, to a multi-map. We have to change it to a multi-map. Fuck. It's okay. I mean, I can do it. So this one becomes a T multi-map. This one becomes a T multi-map. So now the difference is that when I do the search, instead of using find, I have to use find multi, which is an additional, which is a different function that does the same thing. You notice when Icontier shouted a lot to you in game? Yeah. I'm in game, but I'm invisible, so he knows that I'm in game only because he sees it on the stream, but actually no one can see me. Easy, eh? Now you are featured on stream. You can say hello. You can wave. When the game is on real, what is the minimal configuration a PC need to have for playing? You can to find that out. The easiest is to download the crystal thing, the crystal. Where is it? I mean, it's not exactly the same, right? It's not exactly the same. Do we have a way to see the previous news? No? GG. I can get it on the forum, maybe? I clicked on something which is insanely long. If you go... Did I announce anywhere the... I see. Yeah. If you download this one, I mean, it's not exactly like it should be, obviously, because we changed it a lot. But I mean, because I added so much stuff. But it is basically, a Windows client, which is a small game to search crystals that I did a long time ago. It was 2017, and you can download the Windows version or the Mac version or the Linux version and test it and see if it runs on your machine. I don't remember if we had the settings for the visual, for the graphical options, like high quality, low quality. I don't remember, but maybe there are settings that you can set. Yeah, if you read here at the bottom, there's more description. FPS kept at 60. I don't know. There is some information. You need to start the game once. I explained it a bit here how to do in the settings, so you can disable a lot of stuff. Here, there was people testing it and saying how it was going, but you see, so the people were telling me if it was running okay or not. So you can just test this and see if it works on your machine and see how many FPS you have. So it's not the perfect representation though, because that's only a client side. That's a very stupid, very stupid client. So now we have much more in the game, right? So I think the performances will be worse now because there is so much more we added. But anyway, you can use it as a reference point. So the map string has location in the region. So now this one is a multi-map, right? So being a multi-map, what I need to do, I need to find multi, right? I need to find multi. Why doesn't give me the thingy? Come on. I can. Is not find multi. Is multi find? Yeah, it's multi find. Okay, so it's this thing. So let me go back here. So I need to. So the way to do it is to do this and then do a multi find of this by our hash key, right? Okay, so this will return all the ones that are good, right? Then for each of them we are cycling through. For each of them we are cycling through why doesn't like me? Trigger type. Well, trigger type, you know what? Trigger type, let me do something. Trigger type, we have the way to extract the string out of it, right? It is what we were doing, right? Trigger type, we had, no. Trigger type, I remember we were doing, lowercase. Really? You know what? I can put it in as a number anyway. I think the number will always be right. Okay, let's do this. I think I can put it because this one is an enumeration. I think I can put it in like this. Who cares? So action info, action info, action info, right? Which is the action info that is coming in. Yes. Then I'm doing the multi-find. Then I need to iterate on each. So the result is an array. So we can just do it for int e equal to 0. How many times we wrote this thing? Like 3 million times. How many times we wrote for int e equal to 0? How many times in our life? Okay, so we do this. This we don't need anymore, obviously. And the while, obviously, we don't need anymore, obviously. And so our action location is al of 0, y of 0 of e. Oh my god, I have a deja vu. I wrote 0 somewhere and it should be e. Oh my god, there it is. Why don't watch me, guys? It might be e, not 0. Okay, anyway. So I send it to the action location. I send it. So we cycle, right? We cycle, and we switch on this is match of search. Search, I have no idea what is it, but I assume is okay. I have no idea what is it, but I assume it's fine. And then, why is complaining about every line now? I think we didn't close some parentheses above or below. Yeah, like here. If handled, we close here, and here there is this which has no match, and this one also has no match. Sorry about why I did it so stupidly. So let's keep it correct. Okay, so at least I'm not messing up with the. No, I'm still messing up because this else. Where is this else coming from? This else we can't remove anyway. Because the bogus XML we don't have anymore, so. Okay. So here it was filtering on the instance, yeah. Unfortunately, we cannot filter on the instance anymore, at least not at the moment. So this code, I think I will have to say, you fix me. This one we will comment it out, but we need a you fix me because we will need to fix this thing sooner or later. So you fix me was working with instances. So we need to reintroduce it somehow. Now here we can just pass in our action info, and since we did the constructors, we are basically doing the same thing of that. So that's good. It doesn't like it, but it will like it, I guess. Just a matter of parsing it. No. Action info, okay, because that is the uppercase I. All of this should be okay. Oh my god, this trigger type. Why this trigger type is lowercase? Everywhere. Okay, let's keep it lowercase. I think I messed up when I typed it the first time, and now it's backfiring on me. Yeah, all of these are lowercase, and for some reason they were uppercase somewhere else. Yeah, so this one it doesn't like. I don't know if I force it to an int, if you can do it. It cannot do it. Okay, so I think I need to do this f string. What was it from int? Which will be a number, but it's okay. I don't have any issue with that. It's just a number that is going into hash key, so it's fine. It will work fine. It will work fine. So yeah, this will be a bit of a mess to test, but hopefully the logic will stay as it is, and so it will work. Sector name, mesh name. Okay, find multi-find hash key. Unfortunately, it started to be late, and I need to go. 12:38. No good. I need to go, but let me see if we can at least compile and finish this part. So action location is match is sending in a PS action location. Yes, for comparison, and that's good. This stuff should stay. Match. Okay, so this matching is putting into the array all the ones that are matching. Okay, fine. Then what is this process meshes doing? Process meshes. Okay, thank you. What is doing? No one knows, huh? Process matches. Action location, iteration result. So it's iterating on all the result that we got. Okay, fine. Then is doing what? It's checking if it's active, first of all. Is checking if action location is active, if the response type is examine, is handling an examine operation. Okay, so it's really opening up. This is really opening up client side the UI. It is what it's doing. So if it's an examine, he open up client side the thing. If it's a script, he runs the script. Let me document this thing because I don't like it. There is no description at all. So process matches, what it's doing is based on, but I don't understand if he's working on the best match or is just blindly taking the first. Come on, it's in the same file.
He's blindly, because he's going through it, you know, one after another. So, I mean, he's anyway taking the first one. He's not taking the best one. He's a stupid while, you know. So he's just checking if he's active, and then the first one that matches these parameters is getting executed. By the way, he's not bailing out, so he's doing it for each one. It is kind of weird. So meaning if I have two actual locations, one next to each other, it will open up both? I don't think so. I think this multi thing is not working because here, I mean, if I look at the code, it's not really. I mean, it's trying to execute both. Maybe both scripts will work, but not both. Okay, anyway, let's leave it as it is. I don't want to change the logic. So at the moment, it's trying to execute them both. So so basically, this is launch examine UI or UI or execute script for identified action locations. That is what it's doing. That is what this process matches is doing. Okay. Nice. So process best matches. So this part of the code works anyway. We don't have to change it, which is nice. I don't know where we were, but process matches. Okay, we were here. Process matches. So it's doing this. This seems to be working. This seems to be working. Okay. Yeah, but now I really need to go. But anyway, we don't have many arrows left. We have one arrow here, which I don't know is just the distractor, which is deleting. I don't even think we need this anymore. There is the destruction of action manager. I mean, it's just trying to free the memory for this thing, but I think that Unreal will do it for us, so I don't think it's any meaningful, but we can do it if we want. Why doesn't like it, by the way? Because it's a multi-map. Because we changed it to a multi-map and now it's complaining. But if I say multi-map here, I think it will work. So that one is fixed. This one also multi. I think it's only the fact that we change it to multi. And this one also multi. So I think it's compiling now. The problem is that I need to delete the real object or what? Wait a second. Wait a second. No. The real object is only for. Okay. I can try to compile. I think we removed all the errors, by the way. I think we removed all the errors. There are no errors anymore, at least in this class. Now, I don't know if there will be some in action info or. But I think we removed all the errors. So at this point, I think we prepared the server side, and we need to do the client side. There are still some parts that are commented, but no, I think one failed, unfortunately. A million errors. AL undeclared identifier. Okay, I think this is for another day, but yeah, it's for another day.
I think he's complaining that his actual location is not defined anywhere. And I think the reason is that I need to include this. The problem is that if I include this, I think he's getting mad on something else. I remember that when I did it, but probably was because action location was not compiling properly. And so that's why I was getting mad. By the way, I think everyone that is here is a regular, but if you're not a regular, remember that we have a Patreon site and you can contribute if you want to the development of the game. So there are different perks. There is a tier 3, I mean the $3 level, the $10 level, the $50 level, and basically you get access to our Discord support channel. You get the ability to see all these nice videos that sometimes I'm posting, and getting access to supporter information and a few other goodies. So if you want to support us, please go ahead and do it. If not, it's fine. We will do the game anyway. Okay, let me see. We still failed, huh? This thing is messing it up. Okay, I will sort it out. I don't know, not now, but I will sort it out. Okay. See you, boys. Thanks for joining, and have fun. We will see each other soon. Hopefully, I will stream in 1 or 2 days. I don't know. As soon as I can, I will stream again. Bye bye.